everyone, I'm Stina Raven, and this is part 3 of my Hidden True Crime series. And today I want to talk about the pattern that emerged after everything shifted. I want to start this by being very clear about where I'm coming from. I was never a regular Hidden True Crime viewer. I was a subscriber, but I didn't watch every episode. I didn't follow the channel daily, and I'm not claiming to be an expert on the entire history of it. I watched selectively, usually when a case interested me, and especially when Dr. John was doing analysis, because that's what I was drawn to. So, what I'm sharing here is not a comprehensive review of the Hidden True Crime channel. It's a pattern analysis based on what I did watch, what changed over time, and what stood out once pressure increased. If you've watched part 1 and 2, you know this series isn't attacking anyone. Part 1 was about empathy, how easy it is to get pulled into someone's emotional reality. Part 2 is about pressure, what happens when fear of consequences starts driving behavior. This third part is about what came after that moment, the patterns that emerged once trust fractured. And by that I mean after the 9-hour live of Lauren, Matthias, and then the 3.5, almost 4-hour video with Lauren and Dr. John together. So after Lauren's 9-hour live on October 15th, something shifted. Not dramatically at first, not in a way that caused an immediate collapse, but quietly, in engagement, in tone, and in strategy. And that's what I want to walk through here. So let me slow this down for a minute and actually show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to put a chart on the screen to give you some context for the environment the channel was operating in after October 15th. You can see the drop here, and it's a sharp one. Not the end of the channel, but a clear break in momentum. And again, the point isn't just the drop itself, it's what came next. As you can see, views follow a similar pattern, a slowdown and then a recovery. And that recovery didn't happen randomly. A big part of the rebound came from breaking news, especially the Nick Reiner case, which occurred on December 15th. That makes complete sense. Breaking, shocking news always brings attention. That's just how YouTube works. What stood out to me, though, wasn't that it was covered, it was the cadence. Daily uploads over multiple days, even when there wasn't much new information at all in that time period. I also noticed a return to legacy cases, like the recent Jodi Arias coverage, even though there haven't been new developments there. This also makes sense from a platform perspective. Legacy cases are familiar, low risk, and they reliably pull views. I'm not judging that choice. I'm pointing out that it fits the same post-October pattern, stabilizing attention through what's proven to perform. And I want to pause here and come back to something important, because this is actually where all of this started for me. The reason I stepped into this conversation wasn't their subscriber numbers or their posting strategy. It was a decision for Dr. John to read and narrate explicit details of the sexual assault of 2 teenage girls, including details that went far beyond what was necessary to understand the severity of the crimes. I want to be fair and clear about something here, too. Lauren did give a verbal trigger warning at the very beginning of the video, so I applaud her for that decision. But what stood out to me was what wasn't included. There was no on-screen content warning and no survivor resources provided for viewers who may have been directly impacted by this kind of drama. For a topic this sensitive, that distinction matters. A warning prepares people. Resources acknowledge that some viewers may already be carrying this. At the very least, it shows sensitivity toward the survivors, just in general. I understand how serious that case was. I understand the intent to convey the harm, which is what Dr. John was trying to do. But for me, this crossed a boundary. Adult men describing the sexual assault of teenage girls, in graphic, anatomical detail isn't neutral. It isn't just clinical, and I don't believe it is necessary to make a point about violence and accountability. And when that narration is paired with ad placement, where monetization interrupts those moments, the experience changes entirely. That's where something shifted in me. Not just discomfort, but the sense that restraint had been abandoned. And once that line was crossed, I started noticing everything else more clearly. So when I talk about patterns, about speed, a volume, format changes, and content choices, that boundary moment is a lens I'm looking through. What I see isn't a single bad decision. I see a channel under pressure, responding by increasing output, relying on authority and familiarity, prioritizing speed and visibility, and leaning into emotionally charged content. And audiences don't always respond to that with outrage. More often, they respond with quiet disengagement. They stop watching as closely. They stop feeling grounded. They trust less, even if they can't fully explain why. This brings me to the end of this 3-part series. Part 1 was about empathy. Part 2 was about pressure and escalation. Part 3 is about patterns and what happens after trust fractures. This doesn't mean I'll never comment on hidden true crime again. If something significant comes up, I'll address it. But the arc, this analysis, is complete. As for where hidden true crime goes from here, I don't know. The channel may continue, it may evolve, it may stabilize, or it may change direction again. Time will tell. What I do know is that patterns tend to resolve themselves, whether we name them or not. Thank you for staying with me through this series. I know this wasn't light content, and I appreciate the thoughtful way so many of you engaged with it. If this video was helpful, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. That always helps more than people realize. And one last thing. During this series, I didn't spend time talking about myself because this wasn't about me. In a few days, I'm going to post a separate video talking about who I am, how I came to this case, and how I approach analysis and pattern reading in general. If you're new here or curious where I'm coming from, this video will be for you. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you next time.